Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Today I'm going to be doing day 2, so that's pack 5, the Agora Models release, and build the Apache AH-64 Longbow attack helicopter. So obviously this is where we got to yesterday. Today I am going to need to bring up this section as well because we're going to be building onto that today as well. Now if you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description here. There's also that QR code on the screen. But before we jump into this, all week this week we're going to have a merch on the map. Now today's merch on the map comes from Robert Castelli, and he's in Fair Oaks in California. I've got no idea where that is on the map, but here is Robert wearing his shirt from the merch store. So let's check this out. Now California, I don't know, is that about 5,000 miles away? 6,000 miles? Let's see what the map says. There you go. As you can see there, that's probably the furthest distance we've gone so far. Have we got any folks from Australia yet? That could be even further, I wonder. Thank you, Robert. I really appreciate that. If you do want to go to a merch on the map yourself, I have put a link to the merch store here. Get yourself a shirt, a cap, I don't know, anything from that store there, and then just email me over here and I'll make sure that's featured on the channel. But Robert, I do think you are the furthest away from Corby at the moment. But without further ado, let's get cracking. So today we do have a mixture of big stages, tiny stages, and some really detailed stages. Now once again, with the armaments, I am going to leave them to one video right at the end of the build. So things like this I'm not going to need at the moment. The missiles, I'll do them at the end of the build as well. And these missile carriers here, they're going to be at the end as well. So I'll put them to one side because the first thing I need is this metal plate here. And we are going to be building onto what we created last time here. Now this metal plate is actually going to be going this way round, and this is just going to be going on the bottom, be best on the top camera, just like that. Now I'm holding that in with BM screws, and I've got them here, and I need 4 of these to screw this down. So perfect. So I'm going to put my magnifying glasses on now because I need to cut 2 parts from this sprue here. Showing you on the top camera, when we cut them off, we need to make sure they've got those stalks on. I also need this clear lens in here. So I'm going to get a little bit of glue out. And the clear lens I've got is going to go into the middle of this piece here, just into the end. So that looks like that. And then the 2 other pieces that we cut off are going to go either side of this. They're quite fiddly to get in, but there you go. Put this to one side, and I'm now going to bring over this section here. So this is actually going to go just on this section, probably best on the top camera, this way round, just over these points just there. And they're held in with CM screws. So that's how that's looking from that side. Now we had the top light here, which looks like this. Now this came in stage 1, very first stage. I gently put this down again. This is going to be going into the indent we can see just here. So let's have this lead going down the bottom and plug in the holes of each side of this lug into that section. And when you push it onto the lugs, it should hold itself in there. Now we want to bend this wire just a touch, just to get it round this motor, so it's going around there. And then the last thing to do is if I just turn it this way round into this area here, I've got a grill piece here. Probably best on the top camera. It's actually just going to go into this way. Now it slots in, slide it in just like that there. And aside from the ornaments that I said I'm going to do at the ends, that's all there is to do in that stage. So we've got a big metal part here in stage 32. So I can see this being a quick stage. What I'm going to be doing is taking this part, I want it this way round, and it's going to be fitting onto this section just here. So if I've got it around like this, it's going to be going into the holes there. Now on top of this, I have this metal plate to put on. It's just going on the top there. and I'm holding that in with CM screws. There we go, and I said that was going to be a quick stage, didn't I? Because that's all there is to do in that stage. In stage 33 here, I'm going to be doing the left wing frame. Once again, got some electrics in here. Let's get these out. So this frame is plastic. I want it this way round. And then what I'm going to be doing is over the top of this section, I'm going to be putting the little LED I've got in here. Now it's going to go in facing this way. So if that's on there with the wires on top, the LED is going to be visible from this side. And I'm holding that in with FP screws. And these are the silver screws. Perfect, they're all in place. Now, the wire that we've got coming from this, I want to take the plug and put that down the hole on this side here. So it's coming out of there. And I'm going to be pushing this cable into the recesses here. So just go along, make sure it's flat. So it's fitting in all the recesses just like that. Let's bring over the main frame again. And I want this wire to be coming out the bottom like this one here. So it's going to be going into the frame this side and coming out the bottom. Just like this. And then I get to put this into position this way round just over that section there. So that's how that's going to go in. Now that's held in with 2 CM screws. And with that into place, that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, we've got some tiny detail work to do now. You can see that for all these tiny bits here. In stage 34, we're going to build the lower swash plate. So I'm going to get everything out. And the first piece I need looks like this. I want to take this piece here, having this keyhole pattern towards the left side, because that's just going to go into the hole just here. So, as you can see, that's how that's sitting. I'm going to close that off by having this other side, which is going to be going the opposite to what the base is. So I'm just going to plug this in. Now, I haven't glued anything. I'm just pushing everything together. So that's how that's looking. Let's put that to one side. I want to bring over this rod here, which has got one round end, and it's got another end which has got a kind of flat top on it. It's the round end that I want. And I also need this part just here, because this round end is going to be going into the inside lip of this here, and it's held in with these pins, which I need to cut off with my sprue cutters. So what I'm going to do is put the pin in first. Okay, I found the best way to do this is to hammer the pin in first, just to open that out a little bit, then take it out, because this is really hard to do. Then put the pin in here. That was hard, but as you can see, they are both in place. So, taking what we just created, the tab here on the bottom is going to be going into the hole, you can see just on the second level there. So let's push this in. See, that's really going to test your skills, that is. But there you go, that's in there. Then I want to bring over this piece. We're going to be putting this just onto the points at the back here. Now, I haven't glued anything. They haven't asked me to glue anything here, so I haven't. They do go together quite tightly, though. I don't think there's any danger of them falling out, but that's in. Then I've got these brackets to put in onto these 2 sections here. So the thicker one goes into the top, thinner one at the bottom. Looking like that. That's going to reinforce things. We'll do the same on the other side. Looking good. Then I've got this ring here with the hole just at this side is going to be going into this point here. Again, get that pushed all the way in. Wow, this is detailed. Then I'm going to be putting these rods up here in between these 2 parts here. Once again, holding them with a pin. Now I find I have more control with my duckbill pliers on this. As you can see, that goes all the way in there. And then just do the same on the other side. Well, that was fun, looking like that. Very detailed. Then the last thing to do is to take this base here And I'm going to be pressing this into the 4 smaller holes here. They are slightly bigger at the back. So make sure we put these in the right way. And I'm going to push them in 1 corner at a time. And there we go. That is fully in. That was hard. Okay, that is all there is to do in that stage. They are giving us a bit of a respite in stage 35. As you can see, I've got some more of these missiles here, so I'm going to put them with my armaments. Armaments. I'm telling you, pack 12, I want to get it right. Okay, first thing I've got is this detail here, which is going to be going onto this area. Again, I don't think this has to be glued. It really does clip in tight. As you can see, I'm having trouble getting it in. There you go, that's snapped in there. Make sure that this hole is towards this edge. I've got this tiny detail here to go on, which has got a D-shaped pattern on it, so it can only go in one way. That's in. The next detail here is going to be going just onto this centre section. Now, Todd McWilliams, Marvel Phoenix, has got this on his My Partwork Central site. Does name all of these pieces, just so you know, because I haven't got a clue what they're called. And now I just need to lay out these parts. So I've got an L and an R, and then I've got these smaller parts here which are labelled as well. So this one's an R, this one's an L. So we're going to be putting the left hand side ones in first. So I want this larger piece, and that's going to go into the holes here. Again, just a push in, not gluing these. And then on top of that, I've got this other piece here, which again has got a D-shaped pattern, so it can only go in one way. Just like that there. And we repeat that on the other side, and they snap in, but that looks just like that. Now, aside from doing all of those missiles, that's all there is to do in that stage. Now, stage 36 should be easy because we've actually done this before, but on the left side. So once again, going to be putting this light into here, this way round, and holding it in with these silver FP screws. Trace the wire through the hole here. And once again, I'm going to press this into the cavities along this section. Just like that. Bring over the section that we put this one on last time. We're just going to be doing exactly the same thing on the other side, which means once again this is going to be going, move some of these wires around, into this hole, and there is a gap underneath this frame that we've got to sort of rotate this around. Now I want to keep this wire just out the way when I put this on, but it's going to go on just like that. Once again, it's held in with these CM screws. Now, you know what, they haven't asked us what to do with this cable J here, but in the last picture it seems to have disappeared, so I'm going to put that out of this hole at the bottom as well. So let me just grab that, pull that through, so this cable here is going in the same location as all the others. There you go. I think I'll leave it like that. It looks a lot cleaner, but then I've got all 4 of these cables coming out the bottom, which are K, M, J and L. That's what I've got coming out the bottom at the moment. So I hope that's right, but that's all there is to do in that stage. Now, very big stage, stage 37, although it doesn't look to be too much to do. We've got the tail boom. This is going to be very iconic once this is fitted. So it's this side that I want first. This is stamped with an L. So bringing over this tail section here, this is going to be going into the indent that we can just see here. So I'm just going to line up these sections here, push that into place, so it's fitting flush in there. And I've got this cable here, which is going to go into this rear tail light. So what I want to do is thread this into that section there. And at the moment, there's nowhere to put that. I'm just going to put that down there. All of these wires here are going to be eventually trunked down this section. And again, we'll be coming around here, just like this. But again, we're not actually putting these into place at the moment. As a matter of fact, we're not even putting this section or using these screws, because that's all there is to do in that stage. What we are doing though, in stage 38, we're going to be fitting the tail lights. So let's get all of this out. And that means I'm bringing over this section again. And this tail light is just going to go onto these points just at the top here. So it's going to go with the wires down. So the tail light here is facing upwards. I'm screwing that in with CM screws. I need 2 of them. Perfect. Now, these power cables that are labelled U and T now also need to go through that hole underneath this section here. So let's get me tweezers to help me here. Looks like every single lead on this build is coming through that hole. I mean, they're coming in okay. So with all of those cables through there, the only one that isn't going through that hole at the moment is the one we just fitted. Okay, put that to one side. And I want to bring over this lens holder for another light, which I've got here. Now this is cable P. I'm going to push this into the end here. Now it wants a little bit of glue to put that in place. I want to keep this quite clear though. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually putting some resin in here. And the clear resin will hold this into place. Now, when you saw me glue that cable in earlier on, just at the towel section, I didn't actually glue the inner core of it, only the outer core, because I do believe this is going to act like an optical fibre light. Because I think when we attach this, that black cable that I put in, we're going to be putting into the end of this. So let's have a look. Bringing over this section here, making sure I'm not trapping any of these wires. Take them out there. This is just going to go into position just here. Keyhole pattern, like that. It's held in with a flange screw, which is a BM screw, and that's in tight, which means then, just like I said, this optic fibre cable here can go down the end. Once again, I'm just holding the end of that in with just a tiny bit of resin to stop that coming out. And with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. So we are going to want to keep these screws and this part of the tail safe for now. And the reason being is because the last stage of this pack, we're actually going to be doing the tail wheel, which is going to be very, very, very tricky. It looks very detailed. So as you can see, I've got absolutely loads of parts. So it's probably best to just open everything first. And ensuring I've got these magnifying glasses on, because this is going to be really hard. The first thing I want to do is bring this over. And I want to put this detail here just onto this section. Make sure I'm not pinching this wire, but it's going to fit on this way, just like that. And that's held in with a BM screw. Again, this is one of these flange screws. Put that to one side. And now I'm taking this little bracket here, which has got a hoop on for a tiny hinge to go in, which is on this rod. Put that in here. And then I'm going to be holding that in with one of these tiny pins. It's a tiny pin we want, even though there is larger pins here, and one end is smooth, one end is rough. So it's a smooth end that's going in first, and I always find knocking these in with a hammer is the easiest way to get these in. And then finishing it off with pliers. Perfect. So that's in. I want to create the wheel, so I'm going to be putting the inside of this, dropping it, rim into here. And there's no way you're going to do that without hot water, so I'm going to boil a kettle. Now, unlike normal tyres that we do here, I only need a tiny bit of water like this, and it doesn't need to soak very long at all. But basically I'm going to be pushing this whole rim into the tyre. So take that out and get this pushed in. Just going to take some manipulating to get this round. Put it back into shape. But there you go. That is the tyre in. So the tyre is actually just going to go into this bracket here. So getting that in, it's going to be held in with one of the larger pins this time, but it's a finish one. There is a thick pin and a thin pin. It's the finish pin that I want. Get that to go all the way through. Just knock that in with my hammer a little bit. And there you go. That's all the way in. And it whizzes around. Okay, next two sections I'm going to take look just like this. And I want this to be this way round. And it's going to be going along the edge just here. Pushed in like that. I need a medium pin this time, which is going to hold all of these together. I think this time what I'm going to do, just to help me out, line it up. I will put the end of the pin into a tiny bit of oil. There we go. That's all the way in there. Very fiddly stage. So the two ends of this are going to be fitting onto this section here. So that this bracket is at the back. They're going to go on like that there. These are held in with the thicker pin that I've got here. Now looking at this one, this doesn't have a rough edge on it. So I'm going to thread these in. By the look of it, I'm going to need some oil again. That was hard, as you can see. That's in. That took me a while. On the top of this section, I've got this cover to put on, which is just going to go into these two holes. So this is a press to fit. There we go. That's in. We're not screwing that down or anything, but what we are doing is we're going to be taking the wheel now and putting that through the shaft there. I want to take this section, which has got a flat edge and a curved edge. So I want the flat edge first. And put that over the top of this wheel section. And once I've got that in, I've got this tiny, tiny little clip to put in. Let's get my tweezers out again. Which is just going to slide under here. Ha! That was hard to get that in, but there you go. That's in there. Turn this over. And now I'm going to put this section in. So it fits in just like this. And I need a tiny pin just through this side. There we go, that's in. God, that was hard. This whole section is hard. Then I've got a medium-sized pin just going into this back section here. There you go, that's perfect. Look at this, look at the detail in it. Put that to one side at the moment while I take a deep breath. I'm just going to be putting this section in here. Now, there might be a little bit of excess paint on here, which is why it's going to have trouble getting all the way into the shaft. So, just sand that a little bit. And a little bit of oil. And then let's see if that goes in now. Perfect. Just like that. I'm going to be putting this into this end just here. And I've got another pin to push through this. This is a wire pin, slightly longer than the other ones. Might be best just to take this cover off before you do that, because it is hard to get in. But as you can see, that's in. And then I can still put this cover back over the top here. Now, this top section goes all the way back here. And it's going to fit into that point just there. You've guessed it. I'm going to be using a tiny pin to hold that one in place. But there you go. That's in. Wow. In these two holes here and here. Just dab in some glue. I've got this other tiny metal section here, which is going to go into each of these holes. And that's gone in perfectly there, as you can see. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm hoping the glue is going to hold it that side. I think it will. And there we go. They're both in there. Then I've got these two parts here. This one is going to go into the two holes this side here. Just like that. The other one is going to go on the other side, like that. Now, this is meant to be left over, but they're not showing this. So let me just go through the instructions to make sure that I've not missed something. Well, by the looks of it, this isn't even meant to be on any of this stage. So this has fallen out of something, but I don't know what. So if anyone can help me figure out where that come from, it'd be very much appreciated. But that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. Okay, I found it. It goes just here. So I'm just going to put that back in. And there you go. That always worries me when I've got a bit left over and I'm not meant to have a bit left over. That was fiddly. That, if you get one thing wrong, it's going to throw everything else off. But I'm glad it's looking the way it does. Not quite sure how this is going to attach. We're going to figure that one out in a minute. But very happy with how that turned out. Once again, if you want to get this for yourself, I've put a link in the video description and there's that QR code on the screen. But I really hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. But if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.